Okay, so in Zecharia Chapter 2, Zecharia Perek Bet. So the last Perek finished with idea. We discussed that Nevuah Chagai, according to the Malbim and many others, discussing Alexander the Great taking on, conquering the world. But there'll be Sheket in some sort of tranquility. We'll have Bait Sheni. But at the end, it says, O tefutzena arai mitov. The cities are going to be scattered again. The Jews are going to be scattered through all over the world. And there'll be a final galut, which is galut of Edom, of Rome. Now, Zecharia continues this prophecy. I lifted my eyes and I saw in a vision. There are four keranot. What are keranot? Keranot are horns. But also, Malbim says keranot also means keren. There are four corners. And Nebuah is actually expressing both of these ideas. Four keranot means four horns, and also the four corners of the world. So, Va'omar el malach hadover bi. And so Zecharia says, I asked the malach who was speaking to me in the vision and explaining to me the visions. V'yomer elai. So I said, Ma'ele, what are these? V'yomer elai, the malach answers me, Ele hakeranot. These are the horns. Asher zeru et Yehuda et Israel v'Yerushalayim, which scattered the Jews from Yehuda and Israel Yerushalayim. So what the malach is saying is two things. Number one, these four keranot, these four horns are what? Karnei re'em karnam, bahem amim yinagach. Which means what? These are the four nations that gored, in a sense, exiled the Jewish people. Who are the four nations? Bavel, Madai, Parasu Madai, Yavan is Greece, and ultimately Rome. These are the four nations, right? And Zecharia only witnessed Bavel, and he's now in the middle of Paras. And he's already foretelling about there's going to be two more. That's on one level. Ken. Ken. Zetchilat Bait Sheni. Chagai and Zecharia overlap. Oh. But Mabim says also Karon means a Lashon Keren, means a horn, means a corner, which means there are going to be four nations throughout history on the four corners of the world. And there'll usually be one nation that's going to be powerful, more powerful than the rest. But these four nations on the four corners of the world, which are going to be powerful nations, which are going to also bring tzarot to the Jewish people. So it's not just about the four galiyot, the four main nations that exiled us, but throughout history, there's four nations throughout the corners of the world, each one in power at different times, overpowering the others. But ultimately, each one has an influence over some sort of persecution, causing challenges to the Jewish people. But he continues.
Why did you mention only the two Kanot? Because two is already past.
Because the vision is referring to all four. Because discussing the idea of these are the ones who were Zareh, who the ones in the past, and there's going to be two more coming. But Hashem arba charashim. But Hashem also sold me 4 charashim. What's a charash? Choresh is the carpenters. Okay, not right. 4 carpenters. Va'omar nased ma'ele ba'im la'asot. What are these 4 charashim coming to do? Vayomer lemor ele hakranot asher zerut Yehuda kefi ish lo nasa resho. Because these 4 could on these nations, either the 4 nations in the 4 corners of the world, or the 4 nations of the 4 exiles of the Galuyot that we spoke about, that scattered the Jewish people. Kefi ish lo nasa rosho. And when they're in control, right, the Jews aren't able to lift their heads. There's so much tzarot they cause us, we can't even lift up our heads. And therefore, these charashim, these are 4 umanim, these are 4 people who are going to fight against these 4 nations. And how do we fight them? First, la'achridotam, to instill fear in them, so allow the Jews to pick themselves up. And if that's not enough, leyadot et karnot hagoim, hanosiim keren eretz Yehuda lezarota. But if not, their job is to overpower the nations, right, and to destroy them, to chop them down, which are trying to scatter the Jewish people. Who are these 4 charashim? So basically, Maran Sukkah says, who are the 4 charashim? Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu Navi, and Malki Tzedek, the Gemara says. Malki Tzedek. Who's Melchizedek? That's Shem, the son of Noach. These are the four that are, in a sense, fighting against the four Galiyot. So why these four? What is the idea of these four? So I saw a very nice idea in Iyun Eliyahu. Iyun is a pirush on Agadot on Shas, and he says like this. He says, there are four things that give us zechut throughout history. It's Torah, Tefillah, Emunah, and Shalom. And Shalom, right, and each one represents a different idea. Mashiach ben David Avimelech is Tefillah. His whole essence is Tefillah. Mashiach ben Yosef, who's a descendant of Yosef, Yosef is the greatest Emunah. No matter what situation is in, Yosef is Betach B'Hashem. There's a zechut of Emunah. He says, Melchizedek. It's interesting, the Kodesh is Shem ben Noach, who had a yeshiva, he represents Torah. Yaakov learned by him, he says, so that Shem represents Torah, and Eliyahu Shalom. Eliyahu is bringing Shalom. Yeah, because he's going to bring Shalom in the future, right? In a Kana'i, right? Kano Kaneti, but Eliyahu represents Shalom. But the idea is, so on a simple level, these four Harashim, which means what? What fights off the influence of the nations of the world against us are these chut of these four things. And he says the greatest of them is the Emunah of Mashiach ben Yosef. And that's what ultimately brings the final, that's what brings the Geulah and Emunah. So when we're feeling tzarot, when we strengthen these four things, that's when we're able to fight off the influence of these four things. But on a deeper level, there's these four nations also have Sarim Lemala that surround the four corners of the Merkava of Hashem, and they're the ones who influence the tzarot, and these four are who fight for us in Shamayim against their influence. So there's a battle, so to speak, in Shamayim when they overpower us, but between these four and four. But obviously, is our actions here that give the koach lemala to fight them off. That's what it seems is happening here. By Sinai, and Zecharia continues his nevuah, and he says, "Va'ere," and I saw, "V'hine ishu biyado chevel midah." Behold, there's a man, and with him there's a measuring rope. He's measuring. Va'omar, and I said to him, "Ana ata holech, where are you going with this measuring rope?" Vayomer Elah, and he says to me, "Lamod et Yerushalayim." I'm going to measure Yerushalayim. Ilirot kama rochba ve'kama orka, to see what its width is. On a simple level, it's a remez that the walls of Yerushalayim are going to be rebuilt. Nehemiah has not yet rebuilt the walls of Yerushalayim. That's the 20th year of Artaxerxes, this is in the future. All right, this is still the second year of Daryavish. We are here. And Siman that in the future, the walls of Yerushalayim will be rebuilt, which you already told us in the previous Nebuah. However, the malach who's been explaining to me the vision until now leaves. Another malach is now coming to greet him, to take over explaining the visions. The question is, what's going on here? Why is one malach switching to the other? And it's brought down that, just like there's a hierarchy of malachim, there are those who are greater than the others. And this malach reaches level of understanding, and a new malach comes to take over to explain the vision on a deeper level. And this malach was not able to fully explain to Zecharia, because what's going to happen now, we're discussing the Atid level. We're discussing now, this Nevuah was more global and what's happening now. But that, another one, this continuation of Nevuah is referring to already Biyat Mashiach and the future. So we need another malach comes to continue and take over from there, because now we're discussing things which are greater sodot. Vayomer Elav, Roots, run and speak to this lad, who's the lad? Zecharia. Right? The malach saying, Roots, lemor, perazot tesev Yerushalayim. In the future, Yerushalayim won't have a wall. Because of the abundance of people, which means a wall confines a city, and you can't confine Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is going to keep on expanding and growing because of the amount of people who behemot are there, right? I am going to say, what's going to protect Yerushalayim? Hashem says in the future, I'll protect Yerushalayim. I'll be a wall of fire around it. And I'll have kavod betocha. What's the kavod betocha? The Bet HaMikdash. And Malbim explains, he calls olam gadol and olam katan. The world in general, right? So the the people stronger protect the people on the inside, right? So the army surrounds to protect the people on the inside, and the alamot also. The higher alamot surround the world beneath it, right? In the spiritual world, so to speak, because that gives protection on the outside. But if you look at a person, for example, the heart, which is the center of the body, is on the inside, right? That's at the center, giving life to the rest on the outside. So that's the analogy between the Bet HaMikdash B'Pnim and Hashem Saviv. Hashem protects the protection on the outside, which is a greater protection. Lashon Kabbalah's Or Makif, as we call it, that's on the outside. But the Or Pnimi, which is less powerful, but yet more nikar, it's more recognizable because it's in their midst. That's the Bet HaMikdash, and that's the future. That's going to protect Am Yisrael, and there's no need for a wall around Yerushalayim, and that's at the level. And he continues and he says, Hoi, hoi, v'nusu meretz tzafon neum Hashem. Hoi, hoi, is Lashon, is really calling out to them. Run from Eretz Tzafon. What's Eretz Tzafon? Bavel. Ki ke'arba ruchot hashamayim padash yetchem neum Hashem. I scattered you throughout the four corners of the world. Right after the Churban Bet HaMikdash, the first one, and especially Sancheriv, who went and Mebalbel and the 10 tribes scattered them all over the world. Hoi Tzion himalti yoshevet dat Bavel. And really the only one that's going to come back to Beit Sheni was what? The Jews in Bavel. The Jews, all the rest of the world didn't come back. They remain scattered. So who comes back? Bavel, the Tzafon. Tzafon comes back. However, Ki Amar Hashem Tzevakot, Achar Kavod Shilachani Lagoyim Hasholim Etchem. But Hashem says, Achar Kavod Shilachani El Hagoyim Hasholim Etchem. Hashem says, myself are going with you into Galut. Right? I'm sending myself, so to speak, to the nations that are sholel etchem, that are subjugating you. Whoever touches you is like touching the pupil of Hashem's eye. Right? It's always a mashal, bateno, means the pupil of the eye, something which is precious. But also the deeper idea is Hashem says, I'm mashgiach. I'm watching everything that's happening. Hashgacha Hashem is with us even in Galut. So Hashem says, even though you're scattered throughout the world, you're going to be scattered. Kavod, my kavod is going with you. I'm going into Galut with you to protect you and to watch over you. And I'm going to raise my hands on them, right? Tenufa, right? I'm going to raise my hands over them. And those who subjugated you are going to be subjugated to you in the future. They're going to be your servants. And you'll see from there that that Zecharia is saying, you see Hashem, you'll see then that Hashem sent me, this nevuah that I'm telling you is going to come true, that Hashem sent me for this nevuah to tell you that Hashem, well, don't worry about it. We'll free you from all this. And now this last piece is actually read last parasha, and the beginning of parasha, the Haftarah of parasha Barotecha. We also read it on Chanukah. Roni v'simchi batzion, right? Rejoice batzion. Hinani ba, because I am coming. V'shachanti betochech neum Hashem, and I'm going to dwell in your midst. And on that day, when I come to dwell in your midst, many nations are going to come to join the Jewish people. And they'll be part of my nation too. And I'll live with your midst. And you'll know then that Hashem is the one who sent me to you. Zecharia says. V'nachal Hashem et Yehuda. V'nachal Hashem et Yehuda chelko al admat HaKodesh. Now, in Yecheskel, you're going to learn it, Bezat Hashem. Yecheskel describes in the future, Atid Lavo, the portion that was allotted to Yehuda is going to become the area of Makom HaMikdash. The Makom HaMikdash is going to expand. What portion of Yehuda is today will become the Makom HaMikdash, and Yerushalayim will be outside of that. Right? The area of Bet HaMikdash will be 45 mil. Right? It will be the Eretz Yehuda. So, V'nachal Hashem et Yehuda chel kol admat kodesh. U'v'achar od b'Yerushalayim. Hashem will be Bocheh Yerushalayim, which will be outside of that. And Hem kol basar b'nei Hashem, the Has kol basar b'nei Hashem. At that moment, the whole world will be silent in front of Hashem. Ki ne'or mi'me'on kodsho, because when he awakens from what? From his slumber, so Hashem will come out and reveal himself to the world. There'll be silence. Right? The world is diburim, talks, speech all day long, nonsense speech. The moment when Emet comes out, there's nothing left to say. right? There's no sheker left to say, right? Dovre sheker 24/7, speaking nonsense 24/7. Hashem reveals himself. V'has kol basar Hashem. The whole world is silent. When Hashem will awaken himself in the future. And that's a beautiful nevuah of Zecharia of Le'atid Lavo.
בבית המקדש יהיה כבישים כבר?